me and my business partner, Crystal, we knew that our ideas, our personalities, the things that we were going to bring to this industry were going to be bright and fresh, like a lemon. And then like, that's what we do for contractors is we plant seeds through marketing and branding so that they can grow and flourish. So hence the name Lemon Seed. So oftentimes people will say like, I just use word of mouth as my marketing. And like, that is a form of marketing and is good when you're at the very beginning stages of your business. You know, a lot of people don't have a ton of money to invest in marketing, but that can only go so far. And like, just passing out a business card is not networking.
No,
you've got to
spray and pray.
A brand will be sticky. It will be laying there living rent free in someone's mind.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
And when you have a brand, you will actually spend less on marketing because people know. And like I said, at the very beginning, like when you go to Google search, like, are they going to search for you directly? Or are you just going to have to duke it out with every other heating and air conditioning company that's also paying for Google ads?
Right. Who can pay their way to the top?
Who spent the most money, you know? And so again, we want people to go and directly search for you.
Welcome to the Lasting Business Solutions Podcast, Indy's launchpad to sustain business success, growth, and leadership. My name's Renee Lucas, and I am your host. You know what? It is March, and guys, all I can think about is spring cleaning, refreshing, all of those good things. And so I'm so excited to have a good friend and fellow business owner of mine all the way here from Lufkin, Texas, to talk to us a little bit about refreshing our brand and our marketing strategy. So Emily, welcome.
So glad to be here. Thanks, Renee.
So good to have you here. When I heard you were going to be in town, I was like, we have got to get this scheduled.
That's right. So glad we can make this happen.
Yes, me too.
And I'm sure all the listeners can tell. I'm glad you said I was from Texas. So when they're like, what is that accent from? Y'all can know. Y'all, you hear that? Y'all don't say y'all, right?
Yeah, we do, but it doesn't have the same drawl. And
there's a drawl, yes.
It sounds a little for y'all compared to your natural.
Yeah, well, yeehaw. Here we go.
Okay, here we go. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Emily and her background first. So Emily is the co-owner of Lemon Seed, which is a home service branding and marketing agency. Her creative approach to becoming more recognizable and memorable has helped elevate and grow so many businesses, especially in the trades industry. We actually use Lemon Seed ourselves. She is passionate about developing brands that catapult companies to maintain growth and build a legacy for many years to come. Emily is co-host of her own podcast, From the Yellow Chair, where they dive into all things marketing, branding, business operations, and growth strategies for the trades. She also serves on the Lady Titans board of directors to connect and empower women in the trades. Emily, again, I'm so glad to have you. And we are going to talk a little bit about marketing, which for small business owners can be a huge pain in our behinds.
Absolutely. I understand. I can feel your pain there.
You know, so many times small business owners, we wear so many hats, and you're a small business owner yourself, so you get it. We wear so many hats. And I know for me personally, the thing that would always fall on the back burner is marketing. And so why is it important for business owners to really invest time into marketing?
Sure. So, you know, we always say, small business owners, you're always like, how can I grow? How can I grow? How can I grow? And like you said, marketing takes that back burner. And so we always say like, there's 3 ways of how you can grow revenue in your business. So like, hey, if you're looking to grow 5%, 10%, 30%, whatever it might be, you have to increase your revenue. So a few ways to do that. You can increase your prices. You can improve your operational efficiency. So like, hey, we had this many calls. We were actually able to execute on this many number of calls. And the third way to do that is marketing. Okay. So like
bringing in new customers.
Correct. And so oftentimes people will say like, I just use word of mouth as my marketing. And like, that is a form of marketing and is good when you're at the very beginning stages of your business. You know, a lot of people don't have a ton of money to invest in marketing, but that can only go so far. Like it's only kind of running around in your same circle, if you will. And I know like, especially if you have a business like yours, like if I am hosting a birthday party at my house tomorrow and all of a sudden my air conditioning unit just goes smoking, it's broken, you know, I'm not going to have time to call 5 of my best girlfriends. Like, hey, who do you recommend? Who would you recommend? I'm going to go straight to the Google, the internet.
The Google, I like that. I'm going to go straight to the Google. It's like the saying the one. I'm driving on the one or whatever.
In California. Yes. So naturally, people will go to the internet to try to find either direct search, like I've already known and experienced someone, like I am aware of their brand. I'm going to search directly for them to call them.
Yep.
Or I'm going to go and like see what ads, maybe I'm not looking for ads, but that is what will pop up at the top of the search.
Air conditioner broken, Lufkin, Texas.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. And so people think that like word of mouth is the greatest thing, but I'm like, I'm not sitting around at my girlfriend's Galentine's dinner and we're talking about, so who do you use for HVAC?
Right.
Like, that's not just like natural conversation.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes they don't have the opportunity to have word of mouth discussions. People are going straight to the internet or a direct mail postcard possibly, or a social media group, something like that. There's many other ways. And so for small business owners, you have to really invest and be intentional to get out of just word of mouth marketing so that you can grow your business, get into different circles, and make more people aware of you.
You know, I think that's really interesting because that's exactly how we initially grew our business, was word of mouth and networking groups, right? I will say this, most people don't know how to effectively network.
That is a very true statement as well, too.
Yes. And so you can be in a group of 20 people, and if only 2 of the 20 people really know how to network in there, it's not serving you the way you think it's serving you. And if you don't know how to network yourself, it becomes like a social lunch. And then you just get lucky to be able to give somebody a referral for business and to be able to get one in return, right?
Right. And like just passing out a business card is not networking.
No.
You know, you've got to
spray and pray. Yeah. That's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Just hoping that something comes from it. But there's no real intentionality. There's no real relationship building there. And again, like if you're going to rely on word of mouth, like people have to really get to know you, not just like this little business card that has no emotional connection to them, no real impact to them. And like you said, most people do it wrong. So like I'll see these groups of people, and even like if Lemon Seed is going to a trade show or things like that, we might have a couple of us. I'm like, do not everyone huddle up at the same table eating lunch. Like you should all spread apart.
Right.
Everyone should go eat with someone new, someone different.
Yep.
Like that's how you network. Don't stay in your own same little circle.
But it's so safe and comfortable, Emily.
Correct. Well, so is being safe and comfortable with how our business is and never getting us to the next level.
Absolutely. And as a business owner, you have to step out of your comfort zone literally every day. And marketing is one of those ways to do that. Now, I want to hit on something you said. I want to go back to passing out business cards and people don't have any sort of connection with that. I think a lot of businesses don't understand the difference. And I know we didn't until it took like 3 or 4 years for you to talk to me about this before I listened. But they don't understand the difference between a logo and a brand. And so before we rebranded a couple years ago, we had what I felt like it was a really solid logo that made sense for our industry. So we had our name and it had a sun above it and a snowflake below it. It was like appealing to me. I thought our vans looked really nice. And so we had like van wraps, we had business cards. And so I thought we had a really strong brand until I see the brand that we have now and I realized we didn't. And so can you expand a little bit on what's the difference between having a logo and having a brand? Yeah.
So everyone has a logo, but oftentimes there's no story, there's no impact, there's no memorability aspect to it. And a lot of times there's like nothing to work with there. Like there's no substance. It's just literally like a font and maybe something about the actual service that you provide. So like you said, you had a sunshine and a snowflake for heating and cooling.
Yeah.
Like ta-da! But so does everyone else in that industry.
It's true. Yeah.
You know, and so there's nothing to make you stand out from other competitors. But a real brand, there's substance to it. There's things to work with. So what do I mean by that? So like at Lemon Seed, we worked hard to we have a kind of unique name, I would say. And so it often like sparks conversations like, how did you guys name yourself that? And so I will say like, me and my business partner, Crystal, we knew that our ideas, our personalities, the things that we were going to bring to this industry were going to be bright and fresh, like a lemon. And then like, that's what we do for contractors is we plant seeds through marketing and branding so that they can grow and flourish. So hence the name Lemon Seed. So in that we have a very dominant color, yellow. People see yellow and will associate with us. We wear bright yellow blazers at networking events that we go to, at trade shows. Our background and everything is super bright yellow. So our colors, yes, I'm wearing yellow lemon earrings, if you will. We're always on brand. And I'm wearing yellow pants too.
That's what you can't see right now.
Right.
Is you've got yellow pants on. And so you are, even though you can see you're black here in the podcast, you are so on brand with your earrings and the pants. Like, yeah.
And so a color can be a great way. Like if I say Tiffany blue, a color immediately comes to your mind. And there's no there's a specificness to that. So people can associate yellow with us and anything lemon with us. But then we also have like language that we can use that is branded language for our thing. So we'll say like, hey, we're here to juice up your marketing. And we build it out into our team culture. So like our core values are zesty. So every team member knows that like at Lemon Seed, we're going to be zesty. So we're going to be zealous for creativity. We're going to be experts in strategy. We're going to be servant-minded advocates. We're going to be thorough and timely, and we're going to be yielding results.
Notice too, I'm going to stop you for just a minute there. So many business owners, they might have core values or they'll have some sort of purpose. They can't confidently rattle it off like you just did because they're not truly bought in themselves.
It's not
or
truly
they don't understand
their core.
It. No.
Yes.
You can tell like you are bought into that. And I guarantee your team is too, because you're so confident and you live it. That's the difference.
Well, and to me, it is an extension of our brand. It is a core of who we are. And so that's when we have a unique brand like Lemon Seed, we can do more things with it.
Yeah.
My husband owns another small business, but a signage company. And so oftentimes they will go into businesses and like do cool wall wraps and signage on the wall. And like, sometimes you have to get creative. Again, if you have a real brand, there's more elements that you can do, whether it's patterns or like different like icon symbols that relate to the services that you do, but it still fits in with your logo and brand and stuff, versus someone that like doesn't have, and they're like, all we have is our logo. And like, do you just put your logo every single place in the office? Like, no, it's so boring. There's no substance to it.
Right.
I think of it like a haircut. Like if you have a small, short haircut like yours, you have unrealistic expectations. You're like, I want this fantastic updo. And
you can't.
No, correct. And so like, again, you got to have more stuff to work. You got to have more length to your hair where you can straighten it, you can curl it, you can make it wavy, you can put it up, you can put it down. But if you don't have anything to work with, there's nothing there. There's nothing to hold on to.
I like how you touched on the internal impact of having a brand too, because I've heard you call your team members. So you don't call your team members employees.
Right.
You don't even call them team members. You call them seeds.
Yeah. Hey, seeds.
Yeah. And I love that because it just carries the brand internally, just like it does externally. That's why. So with our business, heating and cooling, we had our logo. I was doing a ton of networking. We grew our business, but we hit a ceiling for sure. And it's just like, we're not going to continue to grow unless we do some actual marketing. So I interviewed a lot of different companies. And the reason that I chose Lemon Seed was because you showcased your brand so well. And I was like, man, if you can do this for yourself, I know you can do this for me.
Sure.
I knew that you could do the same thing for us, right? And so when a company is looking to, I would really encourage you, I'm going to stop right here and just say, as a business owner, I would really encourage you to take a look at your branding or just your logo and determine which one do you have, right? Which one do you have? Because that's a great place to start. Now, when we talk about branding and creating a brand, I will say, having been through it, it is a really big project.
It is. Yes.
Okay. It's an investment. It's a big project because we're not only creating the story, but then it's how do you implement the story into everything that you do, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So for us, like we have maintenance memberships. We are currently branding our maintenance memberships. So we're changing the name of them from Gold and Platinum to Discovery and Horizon, but it goes along with our house rocket and launching the way to lasting comfort solutions and all of that.
And we made little icons that go along with that for the visual aspect,
Yes. So they have their own little logos or icons. And so we have like our mission comfort. We have each of the paths that we can take. So talking about vocabulary, we don't have this plan or this plan. We have the discovery path or the horizon path. Which path of comfort would you like?
There you go.
Oh my gosh. And so that's the thing is it's more than just getting it on paper, but then now what are we going to do with that?
Sure. And then also like, it gives people more something like to feel a part of than just like, I'm part of the VIP maintenance club or, join our membership club. Like, what does that mean? Like, there's no connection or like loyalty built in with that. But like when you're in a position, like choose your own path, the horizon path, like there's more, I can feel a part of something. And it's a lot more memorable to where, again, a brand will be sticky. It will be laying there, living rent free in someone's mind.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
And when you have a brand, you will actually spend less on marketing because people know and like I said at the very beginning, like when you go to Google search, like, are they going to search for you directly, or are you just going to have to duke it out with every other heating and air conditioning company that's also paying for Google ads?
Right. Who can pay their way to the
who
top?
Who spent the most money, you know? And so again, we want people to go and directly search for you. So have they seen your yard signs out and about? Have they seen your vehicle wraps? Have they seen billboards? Have they seen you out in the community sponsoring the Little League baseball team? And maybe you had a mascot or something that throws out the opening pitch. Those are all things that you can't have a direct ROI to. So you're not going to be like, we took our mascot out to opening day of Little League and we generated $100,000. No, not going to happen. But again, it is that people remember you. Maybe you sponsored the photo booth and to where it printed out the picture that has your little template on there and it lives on their fridge, because I'm not throwing away the picture of my kid from opening day and stuff. So like subconsciously, I'm looking at that LCS logo every time I open the fridge. Like those are things that don't have a direct ROI, but it helps placing these little seeds in people's mind, in your customer's mind.
Yeah. And it builds the relationship, because people too, like take that mascot example that you just gave, that mascot that's there with their kid on Little League
Little League opening day. Yeah.
Yes. They have subconsciously, I believe, a little bit of trust built there too.
Absolutely.
They already trust you to take a picture with their kid. You know what I mean? There's already something there.
Correct.
That you didn't have before.
Absolutely. And even if they don't know you because they haven't used you yet, because they've seen you, they feel like they already know you because they've seen, man, I see you guys everywhere.
Oh,
you know, you want people to be saying that. I'll tell a quick little story. So we rebranded a contractor out of Oklahoma and we went hard with it. So not a mascot, not a crazy logo or anything like that, but we really wanted to embrace a color. And so he embraced the color pink. And so,
which is unusual in the trades.
Very unusual. And he even mentioned some hesitancy of like, are all my guys going to quit if they have to wear a pink shirt? Or like, are they going to drive a pink van? And, you know, we had gone through this whole thing and he was getting his first vehicle wrap. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, have I made a terrible decision? What have I done? Like really kind of panicking. He got the van and he saw it in person. He's like, oh my gosh, I love it. And he said to his surprise, his team members were fighting over who can drive the van first. But this is the most important piece. So he had one van wrapped and he was like working the schedule in to get all of his other vehicles wrapped and things like that.
Because it's an investment.
It is an investment. And like even just like logistically time wise, like how many can you pull off the street, things like that. So he was working it in. So at the time he only had one truck and one of his buddies came up to him and was like, man, how many trucks are you guys up to? 20? I see you guys everywhere.
And he had one.
He had one, but all of a sudden people noticed it. So because you could see this disruptive pink van, like it catches your eye versus the boring white van that just has a little lettering logo decal on there that means nothing. It's just, there's no reason for it to stick in people's mind. But a pink van, it's at least gonna make your head turn, be like, oh yeah, there's above and beyond there. Sorry, I got a fumble there. But that's what a brand will do. And so we helped them, they came up with a jingle. So the pink van techs do the job best, you know, and so they do that in their commercials, on their radio, their community support is all around like pink organizations. So like they do a lot of like breast cancer and women's domestic abuse type thing. But again, all things that kind of relate to pink, but it's a further extension of their brand.
Right.
You know, and so,
it all makes sense together. Whereas before you would think about, you know, and sometimes too, when we're talking about community support and things like that, is it genuine or is it not genuine? So you might say, oh, there's like a heating and air conditioning company that's supporting breast cancer awareness. Okay. But then you look and it's like, man, it ties into everything they do and it makes sense. Then.
Well, and then also like, I would say like from a small business owner perspective, it can kind of also give you some guardrails to where like, you know, you get hit up all the time for, can you sponsor this? Can you donate money to this? You know, it's
or like a money tree. There's money trees everywhere.
Correct. Like y'all are rich, you know? But sometimes it can also give you an out to like, hey, you know, so sorry, we're not going to donate to that organization because we only support this, you know, or this is where we give all of our time and attention. So sometimes it can give you an out while still being respectful. And it makes sense to people when you do have to say no versus just like, no. So it can give you guardrails to again further extend your brand.
That's I'm going to use that because because it gets to a point where you feel bad, especially if it's a client of yours that's approaching for something and it's like, man, but we've got this and we got this and we got this and we got this. How do I say no? And then am I going to lose that person as a client? And it makes total sense if we have, hey, we've, you know,
And
we're
whatever it
dedicated
might
here, and
be.
here's why.
And we can say, like, tie it into your story. So is it around like a color through your brand? Is it a part of an emotional aspect? So we have a contractor, and his mom was a teacher. And so, you know, he saw the struggles that teachers had and things. So like, hey, we only do things around like education. So they do like a backpacks and burgers, big cook-off every single year, things like that. So it gives them an out to say like, hey, we don't really donate to the animal shelter. The animal shelter is still great. You have a great cause, but like, that's not something that resonates with us. So again, it can be a part of your story, give you a reason to tell it, or an extension of your brand, or both, you know, honestly, but find a nugget there to where you can tie it in full circle.
So as we're talking about this strategy that we have, speaking from experience again, for a very long time, I knew we needed to spend money in marketing, and we would just try different things. It's like throwing spaghetti on a wall and seeing what sticks, right? So what's the value in really creating a budget, so an intentional like amount of money we're going to spend, and then a strategy behind where it goes? Like help business owners understand the value of that.
So I'm going to throw out some numbers. And it might make some people fall out of their chairs. Hold on. I'm going to get comfortable. I'm going to get real solid. So we say, and industry standards will show that to do what you did last year in revenue, so to just maybe maintain what you've done, you need to be spending about 3 to 5% of your annual revenue. So say you're doing $1 million in business, 3 to 5% of that would be $30,000 to $50,000. So again, that might make some people fall out of their chairs. But that just helps keep you in the mix, just keep you barely relevant at all to maybe just do what you did last year. If you want to grow, you need to be spending at least 6 to 8% of your annual revenue goal.
I was just going to ask, of what you did last year, or what your goal is this year?
What you were shooting for.
So if you did $1 million, but your goal for the next year is $2 million, you need to do 6 to 8% of $2 million to grow.
Correct. Like, you know, you're not going to grow doing what you have done. So you've got to do something different, do something more. And if you want to be really aggressive, like growing more than 15 to 20%, if you want to have big goals, 25, 30, 35, you need to be spending like 10 to 12, maybe even 14%. And so again, that can floor people sometimes, and maybe not for forever, but maybe it's just like as you're going into a new market, or maybe if you're adding a new vertical, like if you guys were ever to add plumbing, you might have to spend a little bit more money to get the word out that, hey, we now offer plumbing. But most people are doing their marketing budget around 7 to 9, maybe 10% of your annual revenue goal. Building that out. And so that maybe gives you some numbers, but then you also have to have the right expectations of what form of marketing are you doing.
And there's two different types of marketing really quick too, right? So you've got your branding, where it's just building relationships, being recognizable, making sure people know who you are and who you are in the community. And then there's the intentional marketing of like bringing in business.
So at Lemon Seed, we say there's 3 buckets that kind of are 3 different stages of the customer journey. So the first one is like what you said, your branding bucket. So what are we doing just to make our brand known, to make people aware of us, to have that top of mind stickiness that's just sitting in their heads? That is a form of marketing that does not have a direct ROI.
So return on investment.
Correct. So that's where it could feel like, I'm just spending all this money and I don't know what it got for me.
Nothing.
Correct.
That's what you feel like sometimes. It is.
But those are things like billboards, maybe radio, things like that. You know, I'm not looking to get actual phone calls from this billboard that I put up. Like, please do not put a phone number on your billboard design. You will drive me crazy. Do not put your address, the Facebook logo, the Instagram, the
QR code.
No one is driving 70 miles. And that's also not the time of need that they have your actual service. But I am making myself more known. I'm just there's a place for people to experience my brand. Things like community support, some sponsorships, networking, things like that, that can all kind of fall in that branding bucket. And just have the right expectation. Like, I'm not going to say a direct dollar for dollar ROI spend on that.
But knowing, like, what percentage of that, say somebody's going to do, well, we probably need to do easy numbers. So say they were going to spend 10%, right? What dollar amount of that 10% would go into that bucket?
So that we'd probably say around 30% of your budget would go towards the branding aspect side of things.
Okay. Got it.
Then we'll go to our next bucket, where I would say you need to spend about 50% of your marketing budget in the call to action pieces. So when people might actually need your service, how do they find you? How do they get a hold of you to execute, to take advantage of your
Furnace
service.
Repair Indianapolis. And
Correct.
so I need to be popping up and high on that list to get people to call us.
So a lot of like digital ads, Google ads, things like that have a direct, you are asking for the business there. They are looking with intent to buy.
Yeah.
So about 50% of your budget needs to be there. That could also potentially be, you could probably argue direct mail in both brand building and call to action. It could kind of go both ways. But those are ways of how people could actually take advantage of your service.
Okay.
And then the last bucket that we say is your existing customers. So
an easily forgotten bucket.
So true. So, and then the last bucket is your existing customer database. Okay.
Which is so easily forgotten.
100%. So like the customer journey does not stop there. Okay. There's tremendous opportunity and you have a gold mine of people who have already used you. Hopefully you've done a good job to where they can become like your advocates for you, raving fans, if you will. They are then can be another little marketing tool to go out and spread that word of mouth, like you said. But also like when things are slow, when you have nothing on the books, the weather is not acting in your favor,
75 degrees and sunny is great to everybody unless you're in heating and air.
Correct. Only HVAC contractors hate beautiful weather.
I know, it's true.
But those people, that's who you can tap into of, hey, we're doing these tune-ups. We're doing these type of inspections, Mrs. Jones. Because they've already known and experienced you, they have that trust in you. They are a lot more willing to pull the trigger a lot quicker. So like you could probably actually get something on the book today, tomorrow, this week, versus like someone, if they're completely have never experienced you before, never used you before, you have to work a lot harder at it. So if you need immediacy, things happening now, tapping into your existing customer database is a way to make that happen.
That's a really good point. And I know in our industry, so say we had a visit and we were out there talking to somebody about a whole home humidifier, right? That is something that we can revisit and we can follow up on from our existing customer base. But I tell you, nobody is going to be going to the Google. Nobody's going to be going to the Google to refresh their memory about that humidifier that we talked about, right? So your chance of getting any sort of work like that in a slow season, if you are a seasonal business, is slim to none. So you have to rely on that third bucket, and it is so underutilized. I mean, even the value of a regular e-newsletter.
Correct. Again, what are we doing just to stay top of mind? And so when we're having our contractors send out email newsletters, it's like, let's make it a human interest piece first. So maybe it's like, here's where we were at in the community. Here was us at the Little League opening day. Here's our employee of the month. Oh, John, I forgot that John worked there. Like, I love him. Or that's Susie's son. Like, and then getting down, maybe we add a recipe or something like that.
Drink.
Yeah.
I like a fun cocktail.
Yes. So like that matches y'all's personality. It matches like what your customers probably appreciate too. Like that's so fun. And then you get down to the sales piece, the asking piece, things like that. But again, you're giving that human element, that emotional tie for people. Again, you want to be living rent free up in their mind.
Yes.
So that is a way to stay top of mind. But one thing I did want to add is, so you were talking about if you talk to someone about a humidifier. Well, you got to have great data of when you actually went and serviced that home. And then when you inputted the job, like, did you tag them? They're like, hey, we mentioned a humidifier, or this was one that they would really need that they said no.
Right.
So then you can have specific things that you can talk to them about of, hey, we're running a humidifier special. So like, I'm not going to send this out to every single person in my database, but maybe only the people who have open estimates for one or who we've talked to about one, but they haven't actually purchased, things like that. But that takes having really good data and systems coming into how have you tagged this customer? What jobs have you done for them? What jobs have they said no to? Or, hey, we just repaired it this time, but like now they're going to be really looking to replace it this time.
Yeah, actually, and with your business partner, Crystal, we've talked extensively about that because even taking that example that you gave on, hey, we've had this many estimates that we've written for humidifiers, right? And to be able to follow up on those, but then to be able to filter those even more and be like, I'm going to send these that this particular technician has ran. So then I can say, hey, when so-and-so was at your house last month and we talked about this, then we can really get in and it feels very personal and it doesn't feel like some broadcasted email that's going out to everybody.
And it also is like, man, they really know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like they remember the humidifier. They remember that it was John that came in there. Like, again, more trust. Like these people are the experts. They got it going on. Not just like, they're just looking to sell me something. Like it's just fly by night type stuff. There's a lot of intentionality and again, trust building that we are looking for.
On the operations side, and I'm going to hit on this just really quick. One of the things that y'all talked to us about when we first came on as a client was we can do all of this marketing and we can spend our 7% or whatever it is, right? We can do all of this, but if we don't have good operations in our business, then it's going to fail us. The marketing's not going to fail us, but we're going to fail ourselves because we can bring in all these new clients, but if we're not booking those calls,
Correct.
and what happens is small business owners, and this, so tough love coming, right? But we as small business owners, we like to blame our marketing companies and say,
we know, I know 100%. Okay. That's when things start getting cut. Okay.
yes. It's like, well, this isn't working and this isn't working. And this is the biggest waste of money. And
Correct.
I haven't talked to this person in forever. Well, let's be real. Have you missed any of your marketing calls that are your strategy calls? Have you taken 2 months to implement something because you couldn't make a decision on a color or a font or
100%.
But I'm serious. Or then like, did we have these calls coming in and we had somebody in our office that was like, oh, well, my first available is 2 days from now. And we couldn't get to them because
Correct.
we're not operationally efficient. That's not really a marketing problem. It's an operations problem.
So we will tell people this: marketing will only like bring operational issues more to light. Because if you're just like kind of skating by and like things are okay, like there's something
lucky.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But like all of a sudden, once you have more calls coming in, you have more jobs to do, it will only highlight those operational inefficiencies that you have, and wherever it might be, in your call center, in your actual technician, in your follow-up process, in your billing, it will only highlight that. And so where again, you've got to have some things in place so that you can be able to take on the new business that you have. Okay. And so like, we'll tell contractors, they'll have crazy goals of like, I want to go from 1 million to 5 million next year. It's
okay.
Like, okay. So like, what are you doing? So like, have you already hired the team to be able to run all that? Well, no.
Do you have enough vehicles?
Hey, have you bought the trucks? Yeah. Like, do you have the infrastructure? Well, no. Okay. Then you're not that committed to hitting that goal.
Yeah.
And then you're going to blame it on marketing because you haven't put in. So, it's a 3-legged stool. If one of them is lopsided, like, it's not going to work. So marketing always takes the blame.
Okay, so what you're saying is, as a business owner, if you feel like you're skating along fine, and then all of a sudden you feel like you really suck, it's because your marketing's working. And it's showing you how bad you suck.
Correct.
Right? But that's so very true. And I'll tell you, we had some 40% growth one year. And the next 2 years, we went backwards a little bit. And I realized it was because we weren't operationally set up to be that size of a company. Now, we are now, and this past year we hit our goals that we did, and we'll continue to grow from there. But operationally, we didn't have the right processes in place. We didn't have the right team in place. We didn't have the structure that we needed to sustain that. Could we hit it once? Yeah. Could we sustain
you got
it?
lucky, maybe had a few really big jobs, something like that.
Yeah.
But like that takes tremendous, I don't know if maturity is the right word, but like to do self-reflection, to be like, oh, okay, this is where we could improve this part so where we can maintain this growth or do this again.
Yeah.
It takes self-reflection to look at, could I play a part in this?
There's a lot, Travis and I joke all the time. I was like, in our house, there's a lot of mirrors where it was like, you got to start with the person in the mirror. That's the problem usually, right? And there's a lot of wine and chocolate bars. I was like, that's what you need to like come to this, but it does. Okay. Emily, we're going to end with something fun. I want you to think about, and this is for like myself included as a business owner, what drives you crazy? Like when you are working with business owners, like what just drives you mad?
It will drive me crazy that they hire us and they pay us every single month, but then like they will not do anything we say, or they will say like, nah, that's not going to work. Or like, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. I'm like, sir, if you already knew this, like, why are you coming to us? Like, why will you not implement anything? It blows my mind. And then the second thing I'll say is, and this kind of goes with it, again, we might be encouraging something, and specifically on the branding side, going and taking it to a freaking committee. Okay. Like you're going to ask 18 different people. Like committees are where things go to die. Okay. Great ideas go to die. Okay. Because committees, they're trying to play it safe. They're trying to avoid all risk. They're trying to tell you everything that could potentially go wrong. You want to do something great. You want to do something disruptive that stands out. You're going to have to do something bold. And a committee will inadvertently kill everything of it. So,
and what are the chances that every person is going to agree on something? Or and even if you get around to that point, you're talking it could be months later, right?
Correct. And like, why are you giving authority to what they say. Like they have no idea or expertise in this field. And like, if you ask something, they're going to have to say something back versus if you just did it, they'd be like, oh my gosh, it looks great. So cool. You know, like,
I'll say, and when that's something that we talked about, you talked to us a little bit because we have our management team and we are definitely a company that collaborates, right? And so we collaborate a lot with our managers on just about everything we do in the business. However, with this, we did not. And this is one of those things where we made a decision that we were going to rebrand. And we did it. Now, what we did on the other side was we gave like little teasers all along the way. And what it did was it got everybody excited. I promise you, nobody felt left out. Nobody felt like, oh my God, you're making this decision without us. Nobody felt like that because of the way we approached it. And by the time we did like this like reveal, everybody was so excited and everybody loved it. I mean, it was so fun.
And then even like when things just look better, like the logo just looks better, they're more proud to wear that shirt, to wear that hat.
Drive that vehicle.
Correct. There's more pride in it. And so of course they're going to be more excited just because things look better.
Yes.
You know,
it's our own fears and they're irrational fears. And that's one of them. Like, ooh, you know, what if somebody doesn't like driving the pink van? What if somebody won't wear the pink shirt? And it's our own irrational fears rather than embracing it, be confident with it, and being, like you said, the disruptor in your community.
Well, and I would say another biggest hang up is like a lot of people have a lot of emotional investment to their current logo and their current look and things like that. And
we did.
Yeah. And that can be a huge barrier to overcome. So like regardless of the color, the font, the things like there's that emotional aspect. And so like you said, it's a cost a lot, but then emotionally you've got to get yourself there and like willing to do something new and different.
Remember, what got you here won't get you there.
100%.
We were it's because it's like, this is who we are. This is what we started with. This is what, like, I was scared because I was like, everybody knows our logo. And no. I literally, when I saw our new vehicles with our new branding and how the colors popped and everything, I will say our vehicles before looked very dull and very drab and very faded almost. You know what I mean? And it just was such a difference in just the look of it. And it immediately just kind of raised our like it just
elevated
raised us.
Yes. It launched you. Yes.
All right, Emily. Well, we are going to wrap up here, but I tell you what, this has been so fun talking about this. So think about this as we're in that, like I said, that spring cleaning, March is like refresh. Use this as a refresh and ready to launch into, I'm using my own branding in there. But launching your business to the next level with a story, a brand, something that you can really grab onto and share with your community.
Absolutely.
So Emily, thank you so much. It was so good to have you today and so much fun to talk about this. So I would encourage you to take a look at your current logo or your branding and have some awareness around it. Which do you have? Do you have a logo or do you have a branding? And I'm going to give a shout out to Lemon Seed. If you are looking to truly refresh your business, give them a shout out. Reach out to them because they did a tremendous job. We love working with them. Now, give us a follow on social media, share this podcast, get us out there, and I will see you next time on Lasting Business Solutions Podcast.